It's 2 o'clock.
It's 2 o'clock according to my other Mac, so let's get started. Okay, well, hello everybody. Christian Boyce here from the dining room again with the kitchen behind me. So today, first of all, I'm glad to see so many of you here, and today we're going to talk about Microsoft Word and Apple Pages. So, a lot of people use Word, and they use it maybe because it's all they know. But Pages is really, really capable, and it turns out in a lot of cases it's not just a good alternative; it's actually the right alternative to using Word. So let's start talking about what Word is good at and what Pages is good at. So, as usual, I've prepared you a handout. And you can go back to the invitation you got for today's class and get the handout. Or you could go to my website and click on the lectures section and get the handout there. You can get it later. This should be an easy class to follow. So we're going to talk about 5 main categories where we're going to compare the two programs. First, we're going to talk about simple documents, just a letter, a note, something, a one-page document. You've got to write a letter, you're going to print it out, you're going to sign it and put it in an envelope. Simple things. Then we're going to talk about fancier things like newsletters and brochures and invitations and birthday cards and things of that nature. And we'll see how that gets done. Both programs can do those sorts of things, and turns out Pages is better at that. Longer documents like a master's thesis, a book, a big report, a multi-page document. In that case, both of these programs can do what you need for that, but each has its own strength, and I'll show you what one's good at and what the other one's good at. Ease of use, well, you're going to see me doing the same things in both programs, and you can decide for yourself which one's easier. I think it's pretty clear which one's easier. You'll see. And finally, we'll talk about sharing and compatibility. Sometimes you have to use Word because the people that you're working with are using Word. On an occasional basis, you can use Pages to open a Word document, and that does work. But it's awkward to go back and forth. So if you're going to be collaborating with somebody and they're using Word and they won't budge, then that's what you're going to have to use. But let's find out about all that. We'll see how this works. So first, let's look at some simple documents. I'm going to make a simple document in Word. So down here in the doc, I'm going to start sharing the screen now. Let's start sharing this screen, and you'll see. Okay, here's my screen, pretty blank, and I'm going to start up Word. So when you start Word, this is the default setup that you get, and you can just double-click on this blank document, and you're going to make a blank document. Now, mine was off the screen because I have 2 screens here, but now we're back in business. So in Word, you have a certain formatting model. You have document formatting, which is things like page margins, page size, and whether it's sideways or vertical. So that's document formatting. Then you have paragraph formatting, and finally you have character formatting. So I'm going to show you all of that. So I'm going to bring in a bunch of text. Now it happens I have a bunch of text prepared. I copied text from the Bill of Rights. Here's the complete text. So I'm going to copy this from text edit. It's just plain text. And now I'm going to paste this into Word to save us the trouble of me typing it. Okay, now when I do this, first of all, by default, for one reason or another, Word thinks that I want to view this window at 200%. I can tell it's 200% because down here in the bottom, down here it shows me 200%. So let me first, before I go further, let me make our cursor bigger like we've done before. I forgot. It's my job. Okay, so there, that's bigger. We can see better. I'm also going to hide the doc. I don't think we need to see the doc. It's just in the way. So let's just, let's automatically hide the doc. Okay. Okay, so now, this Word document is being shown at 200%. I can see the number down here at the bottom right corner. And I'm going to click on that, and it gives me a chance to change the size. I'm going to make it, first I'll show you how it would fit on the page. If I say whole page, it's a pretty small page, and I could type in there, but it's small. But for now, you can see what it's going to look like when I paste this text in. So I've got 2 pages worth of text. So other handy things to know how to do is to come down here and change it to page width, which means make the page as wide as it can until it crashes into the frame of the window. So this I can work with, and I presume you can see this too. Now I'm going to do one more thing. I want to see if I can get the I want to see the chat window. So I'm going to make sure I've got the chat window showing. Just a minute here. Show chat. Good. So if you have questions during the presentation here, put them in the chat, and I will keep an eye on it and hopefully answer your questions as we go. It's better to ask them as we go and let me decide whether or not I'm going to answer it right then than it is to hold it at the end. So if we can, we'll try to answer it in context. Okay, so here's this nice document being viewed at the full width of this window. And the question was here, how did I expand the margins so quickly? Well, what I did, remember this window is being resized and the contents are being resized along with it, because down here I said make it page width. Stretch the page to fit, not vertically, but sideways. And so this is how we do that. Okay, so let's look at what we have here in this document. So here's a plain document. We have different kinds of formatting. Let's look at formatting here. I have document formatting, and when I do this, I should get a box. Here it is. Here's where your margins are. Nothing too special here, right? 1 inch all the way around in this case. And I'm just going to okay that. That's pretty standard stuff. But I want to talk about paragraph formatting and character formatting. I think we're all familiar with the idea that we can highlight a word or a series of words, and then we can do things like make it bold. So, I make it bold, or I make it italic. So that's character formatting. We're formatting the selected characters. Now, there's also this kind of formatting that's paragraph formatting. So how do we define a paragraph? Well, it's everything between returns. So it looks to me as if this here is probably a paragraph. This here is probably a paragraph. How do we know? How can we tell? Well, here's what you do, is you show here in Word, you have this paragraph mark here, and when I click on this, it shows the paragraph marks. And I'm going to zoom this in a little bit more, and maybe you'll see this even bigger. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see that represents, this mark right here represents that a return was hit with the keyboard. If I did one right here, I'll put one in right here between to and the. I hit return, and you can see the mark. Okay. I have standard undo stuff. I'm just going to undo that. All right. So you can see, in this case, I can see where the returns are. So indeed, this whole thing from here to here, that's one paragraph, because a return was hit up here after the words 89 and after the period after institution. So why is this important? Well, you can format a whole paragraph at a time without selecting the paragraph, because the paragraph formatting is things like alignment, spacing, things of that sort. So let's say I wanted to make this whole paragraph, centered. Well, I can do that. So all I have to do is click anywhere in it. So I'll just click a little bit in it. And here's our centered buttons, centered, right, left, justify. But remember, the important thing here is I didn't have to select the whole paragraph, because a paragraph can only be one or the other. It can either be centered, or it can be right justified, or left justified, or both justified. It can't be anything more than that. Okay, so for a simple thing like this, to do document formatting, a little bit of paragraph formatting, I'll make this centered, a little bit of fonts and things of that sort. So I can make this big like this. I can make this some other font like this. Okay, now it looks like a Bill of Rights. And I can turn off these marks. They don't print. So you can see this is just the basic document, nothing special. If I need to type something more, I just hit some returns and I start, add another amendment. If I, so I can type whatever I want here. Okay, so that's Word, and it's there's nothing to it. So if I were to make a brand new document, it's as simple as coming here and saying new document. Here's a new blank document, and I can just start typing. And by default, it shows me a page, like the piece of paper, and where it starts, the cursor there is within the margin. So it's an inch down and it's an inch into the right. Okay, so a simple document. Nothing exciting about that. So let's switch to Pages, and let's see what happens when we do Pages. So here's Pages. So when Pages comes up, they ask you if you want to make a new document, and I do. They ask me what kind of document, and I'm going to take a blank document like this. So with Pages, by default, they show you this nice thumbnail list of the pages in your document. You do not have to show that. You can say document only, but it's a handy way to see the size of your document. You see if it has multiple pages or not. Let's paste that same Bill of Rights text in here. Okay, and as you can see here in the thumbnails, you can see the pages. So what do we get here? Well, really, it's about the same. In this case, we have the same sort of basic formatting. We have under format here, we have we have fonts and we have alignment. This is really paragraph formatting, right? If I'm going to click on this paragraph up here, we already know it's a paragraph. Go here and I say align center. I can do that. If I want to make the text have a certain font, I can also do that from here. But really, this panel over here on the right is better. This formatting panel disappears, comes and goes, and this is the first thing that I like about Pages over Word. Pages recognizes that most screens are wider than they are tall. So using up space vertically by piling up a bunch of buttons the way Word does, let's take a look at that again. See, these buttons here, they take up space and they push the document down. We have all this room to the right, but Word doesn't use it. And this is something they just can't stop doing. They've been doing this since the very first version. So back here at Pages, you see I've got text that can go right up to the top, and I have font and paragraph stuff over here. So if we wanted to make this paragraph bold, hit a B. I can do here, I can pick some other font like we did before. We can make it bigger. I can type in a number if I want. So really, you can see that this is quite a lot like Word in this regard. You have formatting for characters. So I could just if I just wanted to make a little bit of change here, just change those letters to be orange for some reason. That's character formatting. We have paragraph formatting for left and right, justification, and we have document formatting, which I haven't shown you, but that's here. And so I have my margins, my header and my footer, and my margins here. More margin if I want it, and you can see it happening in the thumbnail, which is very handy. So more, less. Okay, it's really quite nice. So I would say for a simple document, it really comes out to be a tie. Let's just make one more new one from scratch. I say new, I say blank, and here we go. Really the same basics. So for a simple document, it's a tie. Okay, let's get on to a fancier document. I'm going to close this one up. We may come back to our Bill of Rights in a minute. Let's look at something fancier. Let's say you want to make a newsletter. Well, I'm going to start with Pages this time. So we'll go to New. And this time, I'm going to choose a template. They have a lot of templates. Look at all these templates. Lots and lots and lots of templates, and they're really nice. So I'm going to pick this newsletter template. And I'm going to make a newsletter, and it'll take maybe 3 or 4 minutes here. We'll see. So when you get a template like this with pages, what it does is it has placeholders for you. The text is already filled in, so you see it's really already laid out. All you've got to do is replace what they have with your stuff. So we'll just work on this first page here. So for starters, I'm going to call this up here, I'm going to call this online class news. And you see it picks up the formatting properly. And I'm going to say this is iPhones on Tuesdays, Macs on Thursdays. So you see it's looking good already. You notice they even put the date in already. They know the date up here. I'm going to click over here. I'll just click on these words here, and I'll just say Christian Boyce presents. And I didn't have to hold the caps lock. They already formatted the text for me, so it's really, really very easy. Okay, if we don't like this particular color, I can make it something else. So I'll make it this green. I can certainly pick my own color. I've got all the colors I want. I can say, well, give me a color, a standard color like this, or here's a whole color wheel. We can use a wheel like this, make it bright, So I'll pick that just to show you I can. Okay. Now, instead of giving you directions on how to use it, they show you the pictures, and you can just put stuff, just drop them in and watch this. I'm going to bring some pictures in from the Finder. I have here a Finder window, and we have some pictures here. So what I'm going to do, I want to put a picture in here. So here's a picture I have from a previous class. I'm just going to drop it in. So look, I just drop it in, and you see it takes on the formatting that was there before. If I want to put some other picture in there, I'll just do this, and you see it, even though you can tell that the picture I grabbed is a totally different proportions than what's down here. It still made it work. Now you can see our feet are cut off. If we wanted to change that, you can easily double click on this. I can grab it and move it up like this. I can resize it like this. And when I'm done, let's just move this up a little bit. Okay, I say done. It's still in this pretty picture frame. So quite nice. And I'm going to actually, I think I'll keep that there. Back to our pictures. So you can also see, let me hide something here. I'm gonna hide the toolbar, which I never do. There. Now we can see a little bit more. So I have these 3 round pictures, and I'm going to just drop some things in there. So here's a nice picture. You see, it's not round. This is not a round picture. This is a rectangular picture like anything else. I'm just going to drop it in here, and I'm going to take. I've got a couple more I want to use. Here's a nice one. I'll just drop that in there, and I'll just take a nice picture of Thomas Jefferson. We'll just drop that in there. So remember, we can resize these things. If I click on this and then double click on it, I can resize the picture, but it's still in the circle. You can see the circle there. I grab it with a hand and move it around. So for a newsletter, if you want to do something like this, this is the way to go. So I'm not going to do more of this, but you see how quickly that goes. So easy. And anytime I click on the text, if the text is colored, if I just type over it, it just is replaced with what I type. Okay, so that's how Pages does it. Let's look at what Word would do. We'll make a new document from a template. First thing you notice is a really disappointing list of templates. There aren't very many. And it's the ones they have are really uninspired. But let's pick one anyway. I'll take this one, this newsletter. Okay, so yeah, I can just double click here. This, and you see what they're doing. They tell you here in Word what to do. They tell you what to do, and you can click on it, and you can replace it. But now you get to the harder parts are the pictures. So here's a picture. They tell you down here at the bottom, and I'll zoom that so you can see. If we want to add a picture, I have to tap on the ribbon and then tap what I need. So I'm gonna, we'll try it. Insert tab of the ribbon. So you gotta come up here, insert, and then you've got to find a picture. And one of the things about these buttons is they look like they were drawn, I don't know, with crayons in second grade. I mean, the second grade's great. Nothing against second grade, but these pictures are so unsophisticated, and you can't tell one picture from the next. There's all kinds of places where you go to click on things, and the icons all look the same. So it really not nice to use. And in fact, if I were to put a picture in, what I would have thought is I'd go to media. But media doesn't include pictures for some reason. Pictures are somewhere else. So you go to pictures, you have to go find it. This takes too long, so I'm going to do a picture from a file. I have to go find it. I'll say, let's put in this picture. When I do this, does it replace what's there? No. It inserts wherever the insertion point was. So it's not as easy, and it's not as nice. So I would say for a nice document, a newsletter, or let's take a look at some of these other great templates. If I say new again, in Pages, look at things like, want to make certificates for somebody? Somebody graduated from, let's say they graduated from second grade, you make them a certificate. You need flyers, you're going to sell your moped. You need want to make a card, birthday card. Look at this, how hard is this? They tell you what to do, and you can write what you want in here and fold it up, and it's a card. So hands down, we're going to say Pages wins the fancy stuff. Okay? All right. Now let's look at something a little bit more involved, and that's a longer document. So I want to go back to our Bill of Rights. So we'll start with Word, because so many people are going to use Word already, and you'll know what this is about. I'm going to make this window a little bit bigger, and I'm going to hide everything else so you don't see the pages behind it. So this is a big formal document, and you can see it has some regular formatting. We have an amendment name here, another amendment. So we need to make this pretty. So we're going to make this pretty as in the right way. Now, here's the wrong way. The wrong way would be to go through here, highlight this, set some kind of font, some kind of size, some sort of spacing, and then go to the next one and do that too. Because the reason it's wrong is if you ever change your mind, you have to do all that work again. So we're going to do it the right way. So you can change your mind, and it's going to turn out really great. So I'm going to start by selecting all this text like this, and I'm going to pick a font that's better for our Bill of Rights. And I'm going to come up here and pick, I'm going to pick Baskerville. It's a nice font. Okay. Now I don't like the spacing, so we're going to take care of that too. So let's do one more thing. Let's make this Bill of Rights up here. Instead of being Baskerville, we're going to make that Engravers again, which looks so nice. That really looks good. Okay, so here's an amendment title. So what we're going to do is we're going to use something called styles. And I'm showing you styles here in Word because Pages has it also. They have styles. And the idea of styles is a paragraph remembers the style you give it. So the style has a name. And basically I'm going to say, hey, Amendment 1 there, you are a heading. And then amendment 2, I'm going to say you're a heading. And then later I can define what a heading should look like, and I can change my mind over and over. It'll change the whole document. So let's do that. And the way we do it, the best way to do it is to show this styles pane. So up here in the toolbar on the right, we click styles pane. So I'm going to say this amendment here, which I'll zoom in a little bit so we can see better. There we go. Let's make that amendment. I'm going to say it's a heading. Now, it's a terrible formatting for a Bill of Rights, but it knows it's a heading, and that's what matters. So I'm going to click on this one. He's a heading 2. Amendment 3, he's a heading. Amendment 4, that's a heading. Amendment 5, that's a heading. Okay. I think you're getting it. This is a really quick way to format stuff, and you see I've got spacing and doing very little work here. Okay, so now he's a heading. So now we have this document. I'm going to sort of skip the top part. That's important, but I'm going to skip it for now because it's not relevant to our styles topic. But when we look at these amendments, we see, well, this is nice, but I don't like the look. So now, how do we change this? We don't have to go back here to the styles pane and pick a different style. What we do instead is we redefine it. So I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to dress up one amendment heading, and you can see I'm not even getting the first one. Just have to get any of them. Why don't I get the third one here? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this look more, I don't know, more like a Bill of Rights maybe ought to look. So I'm going to make that engravers like this, okay? All caps. And it's, I don't like it blue, so I'm going to change its color. Here's where the colors are, right here. If I click here, it uses the color that's showing, and if I click here, I get to pick my color. So I pick black. So now what I'm going to do, you might notice over here on the right, my current style says, okay, this paragraph here is a heading plus some changes. And a little hard to see the plus changes, but there's a tiny little plus there, and then it says plus Latin engravers, MT for monotype, the people that make the fonts, and then text 1, I don't know what that means. So I'm going to click this little down arrow, and I'm going to modify the style. And that's what I want. I want to do it. Well, I'm going to do it again here. I did make a mistake there, but I hope you'll forgive me. So black, like this, like that. Okay, so we modify the style, and you see what it's done is throughout the whole document, it's changed. So if it turns out that's too big, I can come back in here, click again, modify the style. Say, why don't we make it 14 point and see how that looks? Now they're all changed. So this is why we use styles. Okay, styles quite nice. If you're doing a long document, it's the only way to go. And in fact, let's say we don't like the spacing here. There's a lot of spacing before. Maybe we can change that. Well, of course we can. Let's go here again, and we will modify the style again. And in here, we will say, you do have to work at this a little bit, but in format, I'm going to look at the paragraph formatting. I'm going to say that the space before, instead of being 12 points, let's cut that in half. Let's make that 6 points. So I click OK, and I click OK again, and you see it's all tight, much tighter than it was before. Okay, so that's why we use styles, is because it allows us to change things very quickly. If you have a long document, you don't want to have to go through the whole document looking for things to format. So you want to do it right from the beginning, where you say, okay, this is going to be a heading. I don't know how the heading's going to look, but I know it's going to be a heading. So that's how it's done in Word. And you imagine if you're writing you're writing your thesis, you're writing a book, there's certain chunks of text that are always going to look the same. The chapter titles are always going to look the same. The quotations, the pull quotes, where you've got something in italics that's sort of indented, they're always going to look the same. So with using styles, it always does look the same, and you don't have to worry about the formatting. You just worry about writing your book. Okay, let's look though at. I'll hide that. Let's go see pages. Okay, so here's our story again. I'm going to highlight all of this text, and I'm going to change its font. More than one way to do this, but I'm going to do it like this. So in Pages, you have this formatting panel here. So if I hit the format button like this, I'm seeing the formatting for the text and actually for whatever else I click on. If I look for document, that was where we had our margins. So we'll go back here to this formatting. I'm going to say that all of this stuff, I want it to be, I'll pick Garamond just to be a little bit different. Here's Garamond. And I'll make it all just regular Garamond, and we'll make it all 14 point. Okay, so here's our plain text. And as before, we see an amendment here, amendment title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see what's going on. So in Pages, you control your sizes from here. So just as a contrasting method, if I go fit width like this and it blows up a little bit, that's one touch. I do click, I pick my size, and it's done. In Word, if I go back to Word and go back to that document, if I want to change the size in Word, I have to click in the bottom corner, click, click, click. So it's a 3-clicker. Whereas in Pages, it's really just a click and a let go. So it's just choosing from a menu. Okay, so what we're going to do here. So you can see this is better already. All right, so let's pick a style. So they use the same words. Both programs call this a style. So let's look at Amendment 1. I'm going to dress up that style. In fact, I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to call you a heading. Just sort of like we did before. Now I can define my own styles. I could have called this amendment style. Let's click in this one again. It's the same method as before. You don't have to highlight the whole paragraph. You're assigning a style to the paragraph. So I'm going to just click anywhere in this paragraph, and I'm going to say, you're a heading too. And this one's a heading, and fortunately, in this document, we only have 10 items in the Bill of Rights. Now, it's also possible to set up a keyboard shortcut to apply styles. So just file that away as something that you probably would want if you're going to make a long document. So let's do this, just a couple more. Okay, just a couple more. Heading 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make these look the way we want them to look. So it's a little different approach. Here, I can say, like, this paragraph, I want some space. I want some space before it. And so down here in the bottom right of our formatting pane, I'm going to say before the paragraph. So I'm in this paragraph here, right? I'm somewhere in there. I'm going to say before that paragraph, I want to have some space. Now, what I'm doing is I'm only affecting the paragraph I'm in, and as you can see, when I do that, heading gets a little asterisk because it's trying to tell us that this text here is not pure heading anymore. If I click in another heading, like this one up here, it just says heading. But down in this one, where I've made some changes, heading asterisk. And that's our clue that there's something special about this, and this update button is also a clue. So in order to update this style so that the whole document sees it, I just tap update here, and it's all changed. Now if I don't like this font, I'll come up here, let's change the font on this. Instead of being Helvetica, pretty boring, let's see if we can find something appropriate. Well, this has a big punch, impact. And I think I'll use impact, yeah, and we'll make this a little bit bigger, and I'll change its color. Okay, this would be a little jazzier version. Okay, and once again, I see the asterisk and I see the update button. When I hit this, it updates all of them. Okay, so one of the reasons that styles are so great, by the way, you can see that my 2-page document has become 3 pages, and you see our 3rd page here. It just has a little on it, right? Just a little. So if you're trying to get space, trying to like sneak up on it and get that 3rd page to fit on the 2nd page, you might be able to by reducing the amount of space that's leading up here. Now, if you were to do this without styles, you'd be like maybe hitting 2 returns between paragraphs. Then you'd take 1 return out, it wouldn't look right. You really want 1.5. Well, what we're going to do here is we're going to say, like in here, instead of having 8 points before paragraphs, I'm going to make it 6, and let's update now. Look, it fit. That was pretty good. I didn't know that was going to happen. All right, but it happened, so that's great. Okay, so using styles allows you to modify a document in a hurry. In fact, look, I could even do one more thing. Let's put this in the center and then update. Looks like that. So both of these programs could do the styles, and it turns out they both can do some other things too. There's other things you need. You need page numbering. You need page numbering. They both can do that. You need headers and footers. They both can do that. It's just how they do it that's a little bit different. So let me see if I have time to show you page numbers. So in Word, you want to put in a page number. You can insert basically anything here. So I have page numbers here. I can insert it when I want to, but now I've got to find the header and the footer. So let's see if I can view the header and footer. So when I do this, I see the header, and I'm going to say, we'll just say this is page, and then I'm going to go up here and insert the page numbers, and I say, yeah, I want to do this, and yes, I'll put it on the first page. Why not? And I'll say okay. And so it says page 1. Well, that's not exactly the way I want it, but we'll see that it works. And here's page 2. So it worked. It did work. Let's look at the way Pages does it. In Pages, we can you simply click where you want the header and footer. You see they've got a left justified section, a centered section, and a right section. And if I want to, I'll come up here and I can say, I'll put in the words page, and then I can I'll put in the page number, but I can also do page 1 of, and then page 1 of 2. So they knew. And if I go down here, it's page 2 of 2. And if for some reason we push this down into 3 pages, let's just do that here. I'll hit it there. You see now it's on 3 pages, and what do you know? It says page 1 of 3. So really easy, super easy. So this is another one of those cases where Word can do it, and in the end it does fine. It prints them fine, but it just more awkward. Okay, let's look at one other thing, footnotes. So in a long document, like a master's thesis or something like that, PhD thesis, you're going to have footnotes. And they can both do footnotes. I'm just going to say that they both can, and I'll leave how to do that up to you, or again, I should be having a series of Word classes somewhere along the way pretty soon. So I'll show you all about that then. Okay, so we can see for a long document, they both can do it, but there's something nice about doing everything in Pages. It's just a little bit cleaner and nicer, and you look at this toolbar up here compared to the Word toolbar up here. I mean, there's really no comparison. There's so many buttons here, and these buttons change all the time. So here in Word, if I were to click here, all the buttons are different. If I click here, all the buttons are different. If I click here, all the buttons are different. So some of the features they have are really nice, but they're just clumsy as anything. So for example, if I went here to design and quit viewing the header and the footer, let's say I wanted to make this just fancy right off the bat. I can go here to design and I can say, well, make it like this. And it just does it. See, it's changed the styles. Didn't do a perfect job, but you see it's applied a set of styles that, I don't know, they come from, where do they come from? Like nobody. But anyway, the point is that they can do a whole lot of these things, and it's amazing they can do it. In fact, if you click this little down arrow, you see a whole lot more. And, you know, so you can format these things, but see, they made a mistake. They didn't pick this up. But, you know, it's just awkward. So for my money, if you can get away with using Pages for your long document, use it, because this is so confusing. In fact, if I was here and I wanted to show the paragraph marks, how do I show the paragraph marks? Remember, I showed you there was a little blue button, but where did it go? Okay, so I'm gonna ask them to do it. Let's see how this goes. I'm gonna say, yeah, show formatting marks. That's exactly what I want here, right? Well, if I let me just finish the show formatting marks. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so what they do is they go online and they find articles that have what you're looking for. So if you phrase this the right way, show paragraph marks like this. I think one of these articles is mine. You'll find it one of these times. So anyway, the point is that if you don't know what to do, you can ask. So, or how to do, you know what to do. So I'm going to say once again, show paragraph marks. And that's what I want. So they don't really tell you how, they just, they do it for you. So it's a little, like I say, a little clumsy, but it works. Let's talk about ease of use. You've seen already some ease of use things. And what I want to do here is I want to add a picture into this Bill of Rights. Okay. Let's put a picture in here, up here. Well, I have a picture. And I'll show you what it's like to put a picture in. I'm going to show you how to add a table too. So I have this picture here of the Liberty Bell. I want to put this picture in here. So I'm just going to drop it in. Here it is. And that's not what I want to do at all. What I want to do is I want to make it smaller. And I want text to wrap around it. I don't want it to be like this. I want the text to wrap around it. So how do I do this? Well, it turns out that an image like this, we do have a way to wrap text around it. So we just got to find it. One other thing we got to do, let's look at picture format. You see, even though picture format is underlined, it's blue, it's not active. This one's active. So I've got to click on it. Now everything changes. Now I can wrap the text. But you see, as I've mentioned before, all these icons look exactly the same. I don't know why they even bother. But I'm going to do the one that says tight, and now the text is wrapping around it. But this is still wrong. I want to wrap it around the shape of the bell itself. The problem is that this picture has a background in it. Well, that's not really a problem because Word knows how to take this out. So, okay, I find a problem. They've got an answer, but you have to know which one of these, how many is this? 10 different things across the top. And then which option here, I'm going to say remove background. So when you do the remove background, they take a guess at what you're trying to remove. And so this poorly worded keep changes, which is really, you know, I accept. If I do this, you see, it looks okay, except for they chopped off the bottom of the clapper. They chopped off the top. I'm not impressed, but at least the text wraps around it, and so I'll give them that. Okay, let's do the same thing in Pages. So back to Pages we go. Let's put our picture in there. So I have our Liberty Bell. Just drop it in, and here's our bell. And the text is wrapping around it already, but I'm going to resize it like this. And right now, you can see the background, and you can see that it's kind of a off-white. So it's wrapping around the square. But we're going to do something that the Pages does very, very well. We're going to go over here to Image. So you notice the formatting palette here this pane has changed to reflect things that I can do to an image. Whereas in Word, it kind of raised its hand and said over here, but you still had to go click on it to see the options under the image part of the ruler, of the ribbon. So here it just naturally knows what to do. If I click in the text, this changes to text stuff over here. If I click on a picture, it changes to picture stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this background by going to image, and we use this feature called Instant Alpha. Not a great name. Alpha means that it's like a clear layer is what it's going to be. So we're going to make a clear layer for that background. So I click the button and I follow the directions. Click a color to make it transparent. I'll say, how about like this? And how about like this? And if I stretch, it grabs more. So now it's done, and you see the clapper's there and the top's there. And let's compare that to what we got out of Word. You see Word chopped it off. Not nice. So let's call that a win for Pages. And while we're at it, when we look at the wrapping, here's the wrapping. They're trying to do it. They think they're doing the right thing by automatic. I think they are. But I can change the spacing here. I can make the text tighter by clicking this here. And you want to wrap it even better, I can select all this text and make it justified both sides like this there. So now it really wraps. So that's really nice, really easy to do, all dynamic, moves with it, the text moves as I move the bell around. So hard to beat this. Okay. So I say that's ease of use, just an example of the two programs to do the same thing. This one could do it in a couple of clicks, and Word, it was like it's a hunting expedition. You got to go find the right way to do it. Really hard. Let's talk about something else that's really fun to do in both programs, and that is to put a table in. I'm going to go back to Word, and if it wasn't for Pages, I would say that that Word's tables are really good, which they are. Okay, so here I'm going to just a regular document. This is a document. That's a okay, it's a document. And I'm going to put in a table. Okay, I'm going to hide these paragraph marks so you can see it's on right here. Okay, let's put in a table. So you have, if you know the words, it's easy. So think of inserting a table. So I'm going to insert a table here. And when I say insert, there's all these things I could insert. Remember, I could insert a picture, but not if I pick media over here first. Okay, but I can insert a table. So when you do insert a table, you get this grid, and I say, you know what? Let's make this. Let's make it something like this: 4 by 4. When I do this, here's my table, ready to roll. Here, up the top here, are some formatting options, many formatting options. I'm going to pick something colorful. I'll pick this blue one. Okay, so now I'm going to call this, we'll call this sales by quarter. Okay, and I'm going to click in this box. This will be first quarter. I'll hit tab to jump to the second one, which is nice that it works that way. Second quarter, I'll chat to the third one, third quarter. Okay. And I'm going to put in, this is going to be, we'll have, what are we going to sell? We're going to sell thing 1, and we're going to sell thing 2, and we're going to sell thing 3. Okay. So you could put numbers in here. Let's just put some numbers in here real quickly. I'm just hitting tab, 100 of those, 120 of those. And I'll put in, say we have 95 of these that we sold, and we sold 49 of those, and 100 of those, 199 of those. Actually a typo. Let's do 200 of these, 299. All right, and 175 of these. Okay, and maybe 150 of these. What I didn't do is I didn't make a totals row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit tab. I'm at the end of the line here, right? You see I'm in this final cell. I hit the tab, it makes a new row. So I got to give Word credit for that. That's a nice thing. So I'm going to call this totals. Now in here, what I'd like to do is I'd like to add up 195 and 299. So how are we going to do this? Well, we can do it. We can do it if there's a formula button to put this in here. So let's see if I can insert a formula. Can I do it? Not this one. That looks like the right one. I think my screen's too short to show the formula button, which would be over here on the right. I'm going to ask, let's ask Word to do it. Formula in table. Okay. So let's see if we can do this. I think this is what I want. Yeah, so I want to put a formula in that cell. They got it right. And that's the number. So now, of course, I have no idea how I did it. So I'm going to have to ask them again because they didn't tell me. So I'll just say formula, and they're guessing that I want to sum everything above it. But you can see the problem is I have to do this for every single column, and that's no fun. So even though it's working and it's magic, there's two problems with this. First problem is I had to do it 3 times. I don't like that. Second problem is it's not live. So if I put more things there, this should have gone up. This number should have gone up, and it didn't. Another problem with this table, as nice as it is numbers should be aligned to the right. They shouldn't be on the left edge like this. Text should be on the left edge. Numbers should be on the right edge. So then I have to go through the trouble myself of highlighting this stuff and making it right aligned and knowing that the number's wrong here. So that's not happy about that. However, I am happy that I can click on this table and format it like crazy with different designs. And see, it just changes super quick, really easily. So if you don't want to go through the trouble of formatting it yourself, you can use one of theirs. If you're happy with one of their formatting choices, then that's great. Otherwise, you've got to do your own over here on the right. And it's a bit of work. So let's look at how Pages handles that same thing, all right? So Pages, let's make a new document here. I'm going to make a new blank one. And text goes here, and now we're going to insert a table. I have a table button, very obvious. I'll put it here, and I'm gonna just do very quickly thing 1. This will be, that's not how you spell thing 2, and this is it's thing 3, and I'll put in some numbers here: 100, 200. 300. I'm hitting tab, jumping through the boxes. 120, 220, 320. You see, I like this already because it's put the numbers to the right. Okay, this will be 300, 400, 500. Okay, so now here's my totals. So I want to put in the totals, and what I can do here is if I type in equals, they guess that I'm trying to make a formula. What I want to do is just add these things up. I just select 1, 2, 3. And that number's there. Now look very carefully. You see a little yellow knob there. It's really hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom this a lot and see if our little yellow knob shows up here. Okay, so I'm here in this cell. Well, there's the knob. It's certainly no bigger. All right. Too bad. If I grab that knob, it applies that same formula going across. So I only have to do it once. And it's live. So if I do this, you see it's live. So better. And of course, they have their own styles here. So I can format it like this or like this or like this or like this. Okay, so and I can make my own styles and apply it to other tables down the road. So I gotta like the way Pages does that. Now finally, let's talk about sharing. If you're in Word and you want to send this document to somebody, or better yet, let's send the Bill of Rights to somebody. Okay, you get to decide who we're going to send it to. As a reminder, we're going to send the Bill of Rights to somebody. You come down here to Share, and if you do Send Document, what it does is create an email with this document, with the document we're on, already there as an attachment, and there it is. Okay, so that was pretty easy. And it would have taken less time if the program had already been running. So why don't we just leave mail running? We'll do it again, give it a fair shake. So send the document. Very quickly it makes this. Or let's do it again. We'll say wrong program. Let's do file and share. We'll send a PDF. It'll make a PDF and we'll send that so anybody can open it. Okay, that works. But where are the options? There aren't any options. So let's do it. Do the same thing in Pages. Okay, so here we are in Pages. We're going to get back to our Bill of Rights. Here it is. So if I go to, there's a variety of ways to do this, but the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use the Share menu up here at the top. I'm going to send a copy via mail. So when I do this, they ask me, sending it as a Pages document. I'll say, sure. And it looks like this. But remember, a Word person can't open a Pages document. Word doesn't open Pages. Pages opens Word. So we'll do this. We'll be friendly and we'll send this to somebody by mail again as a Word document. Incredible. So watch the icon. It's turned into a Word document. So that's really cool. So if you have to submit it as a Word document, you know you've done it. If you need to peek at it, make sure it worked, you can double click it here and you can look. And there it is. Maybe not quite exactly the same because they didn't handle the formatting perfectly, but there it is. It has to do with the font I picked. Word has a problem with one or two fonts. It might just be my machine. Okay, let's look at Pages again. How else can you share this? You can share this as a PDF. And notice also this checkbox to require a password. So if I want to send this as a PDF, let me back up and check the box first. Let's say I'm going to send it as a PDF that needs a password. I'm going to say the password is that, okay? That's my password. So when I say I'll make it a PDF, and I say, see if any options here I need. No. If I say next, this document now, if I send this to somebody, they can't open it without knowing the password. And that's nice. So Pages really bends over backward here to give you a chance to live in a Word world. But if you had to go back and forth with somebody, if they send you a Word document and you open it in Pages, you're making a copy of it in Pages. You're not converting it to Pages. So now you have two documents, and then when you send it back to them, you're sending a copy of this new one. And it can work, but I wouldn't want to do it a lot. So when it comes to compatibility, I say Word wins just because of the number of people using Word. Okay, that's it, and we finished with a minute to spare. Looky there. Okay, last chance for questions before I wrap it up. Thank you very much for coming. It was it's fun for me too. Right? Yeah, Pages is really fun. Try Pages on something like a newsletter, a greeting card, something like that. Get the hang of it. It's nice. Okay, thank you for coming. We'll see you Tuesday when we're going to do more iPhone super tips. All right. All right, that's it. Goodbye.